Hey Shahar, welcome back to my channel, to my August wrap up. So I'm going to be talking about the books I read in August. I don't remember all of it, I have the list. Because I felt like August was very long. And a lot of people was like, oh, August is so, or it's August, why am I saying August, September? Yeah, it is August. Okay, I'm confused about August and September now. But I feel like August was so long. I don't know if that's just me. But yeah, so sorry if I sound all nasal. I have a cold, unfortunately. So, okay, so let's get into what I read in August. Um, I finally finished A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and just today I bought, my best friend bought it for me actually when we went to Barnes& and Noble, the second book, Good Girl, Bad Blood. And yeah, so I have that, and I hope to read it soon. But yeah, I enjoyed Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I watched the TV show like right after I finished it. I'm not even kidding. It was already late. So I was like, I'll just read it anyways. I did read a lot of shorter books, which brought how much I read higher. A lot of them were like less than 100 pages or around 100 pages. And I read, because apparently Disney has like a lot of books based on some of their movies and shows. And since I like some movies and shows from Disney, I was like, hey, why don't I read some of these? It'll help with my reading goal and everything. And yeah, so I read Disney Liv and Maddie, Sisters Forever, which I think this was the one that was like basically just the first episode in a yeah. And then Double Trouble, which was also Liv and Maddie, which is the one where they find out basically the episode of Liv and Maddie where they find out that they are actually technically born on different days. For those of you that have seen Liv and Maddie, they're twins but complete opposites. And there was an episode, one is like a singer and is back home for the first time after being at Hollywood for several years doing a show, and the other one is very sporty. So yeah, and there was so the first episode was basically just Liv coming home, and then this one, the episode that this is based off of, they found out that Maddie was actually, they totally twins. They were born on the same day, but one was born after midnight, and she finds out that technically her um, birthday was the day after. I also read three Girl Meets World ones. Uh, when Riley decides to sneak out to a college party with Maya, she's played by her guilty conscience, which was an episode of Girl Meets World as well. There's also, that one was Friend Power. This one's Follow Your Heart. These were earlier in the month, so I don't remember what they're about. When Riley's forced to give up her cell phone to talk face to face with her crush Lucas. Yeah, okay. That was also an episode of Girl Meets World. And then Let's Do This, which is the first day of 8th grade, and Riley and Maya are older and desperate for some freedom, so they're over the moon when they find out Riley's dad won't be their teacher again, but then he ends up being their teacher. And then Lucas's friend from Texas shows up, and they find out the truth about Lucas's past. So yeah, there's this whole thing. I also read Maleficent, which is like the live action movie. I read I think 3 Inside Out related things. Yeah. Um, Inside Out, the junior novelization, Driven by Emotions, and Inside Out Box of Mixed Emotions. Um, I read a Disney manga, which I'm not a fan of manga, but I read it because it's Descendants, and it's called Disney's New Fortune. So it was mostly about Disney, also some of Celia and Gillen Hook. I'm Gonna Wreck It, which is based off of Wreck-It Ralph, which was I mean, I like Wreck-It Ralph, but it's not something I love. But and I read two Shake It Up ones, Center Stage, when they which is basically just the first episode of Shake It Up, where they are able to get on to Shake It Up, and then Bring It, which is Rocky and Celia are psyched to show the world their latest moves at a dance marathon Shake It Up Chicago, but when Cece's younger brother Flynn keeps them up late night before the marathon, will the girls be too exhausted participate. Um, and then the only indie I read the month, so, actually no, I technically read two indies, but one of them I could not put on here because I better read it and it's not out yet. I'll explain that in a minute. But I finally finished Welcome to Dragon Tower by Alyssa Lasset, and I loved it. I'm so excited to read book 3 and book 4, which is coming out this month. So that is exciting. Um, I loved book 2 of the series, and I'm so excited for book 3. Um, at the end of book 1, they were finally able to move into Dragon Tower for the first time, and which is their tower, and it's the first time Dragon Tower is being occupied in um, like at least 100 years. And so this book, they're getting used to Dragon Tower. There's a lot of mysteries because they hear these echoes. With there's this ghost, and there's a lot of creepy things always happening. Then nobody kind of understands what's going on in this tower half the time. But yeah, so that's always fun. And but it was really interesting, and I loved it, and I'm so excited for the rest of the series. So, and then I also better read Where the Heart Is by Ellie Lieberman, which is her third book in the B series. B was about you find out that the queen died and the heir to the throne ran away. Um, so Henry, who's the heir to the throne, ends up teaming up with someone from the village, Ari, to try to throw um, throw out the king. And then teaming up with Henry's brother too, who Henry had believed had died. Um, and then the second book was a prequel to that because a lot in this book you hear about Sarah, who had Fra, who is Henry's brother's baby, but nobody knows where she is or if she's even alive. And a lot of people thought that Fra was dead. So it was this whole thing. And so it was in Sarah's point of view, and it was I think like good 6 years throughout the book, just telling you what happened throughout those 6 years and finding out how she got to where she is. And then book 3 is from the queen's point of view, so it goes even further back, showing when the queen first arrived, because she was dead in the first book, and then you hear about her dying near the end of the second book. But this one is from her point of view, so the first a good half of it was just stuff that happened before An Impossible Dream. But then at one point, Sarah shows up, and then it shows some events that happened in An Impossible Dream, but through Clary's eyes, and then it ends with seeing how she died exactly. And yeah, so but I loved it. It was so good. um, I end up loving Clary. Like you didn't get to see her at all, and be only hearing about her from like Henry or something because she was dead. In Impossible Dream, you saw her here and there when Sarah would conversate with her, but being a servant, she couldn't always conversate with her. But here was her story. The entire time was her, and I really liked finally getting to really see her and meet her and get to know her and see things through her eyes, and how much she's a good mother to Henry, and how much, even though technically Frost's not her child, she cared about Frost more than the king, and she was always there for him. She would do anything for him, try to be there for him, and um, loved him like he was her own. Um, and I love Fra and Henry's relationship, and I did love the lightheartedness because it could get pretty heavy with, because that book does get a little dark here and there. It doesn't talk about it that much, but just knowing it gets dark. But I loved the lighthearted moments between Clary, Henry, and Fra when they would tease and stuff. I loved when Clary tried to teach Fra how to dance, and when Henry would tease Fra about his crush on Sarah. Like, it's just so adorable because it was just such sibling banter and family-esque, and it was so cute. And I loved the three of them, their relationship. And I always love getting more of Fra and Sarah because I find them really adorable. I also loved seeing Elspie when she first arrived because I loved Elspie in An Impossible Dream. And I remember when I first read it, I only read it once, which I'm probably going to reread it at some point because I loved the series. Um, I remembered relating to her a lot, and I loved her so much, and I loved getting to see her show up and see how she was when she first got to the palace, because she's not your normal typical servant like she's a little sassy. She's kind of exactly not really afraid to talk back to the queen. She is to the king, which is smart. Um, but like to the queen, she just says whatever. She just doesn't care. Same with Hayworth a lot of the time. And I love her. Like she just has no filter. She's hilarious, and I just love her. And so getting to see Elsbeth show up and see because when Sarah shows up in Impossible Dream, you find out that Elspeth has these tea times with the queen, which you find out more about that later. But Sarah eventually starts having her own tea times with the queen as well. But I like to see how that all started and get to see their relationship because I really like their relationship because Clary cared about Elspeth and Sarah so much, and I love getting to see more of. I love seeing some of Elspeth and Hayworth's relationship too because I feel like they were really close and Hayworth really loves all the girls, and I feel like her and Elspeth have a special bond that I wasn't always shown as much because of the fact that it's never the story is never in Elspeth or Hayworth's eyes. It was in Sarah's and now Clary's. The first one was in Henry's and Ari's, and yeah, so. But there is going to be a series of short stories after I think the fourth book, and there's supposed to be a story about Hayworth. I'm hoping for a little bit more of Elspeth as well because I love Elspeth. But yeah, so I highly recommend all these books. Definitely check them out, and I will thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I will chat with you guys in the comments. Until next time.